Hi everyone, I'm Brittany with Creation and welcome to our virtual experiences. We're so glad you've joined us today. Just a reminder that the top tipper will win a 5-minute Zoom call with her right after this panel. So make sure your top tipper information in your account profile is complete so that we can reach you if you win. Our next guest has been a constant on our screens, including roles on Smallville, Stargate, and The 100, and of course, Abaddon in Supernatural. Please welcome Alaina Huffman.
Hi guys. Hi. Oh, this is so weird. I'm talking to myself. How's everybody doing? I'm so happy to be here and finally connect with some people. I have some questions over here, so I guess I'll just start in with those. How did you find out you're going to be cast in Supernatural, and did you know it'd be more than one episode? So I went in for the audition, like you do so many jobs, and I've told this story a lot, but my audition story for Supernatural I find really funny. If you remember in the first episode that I'm on, I get stabbed in the back, shot in the face, and my head gets chopped off. So that was my audition scene. And I remember it came into my inbox, and I was at the park with my kids or something, and I just kind of skimmed through it, and I was like, this shit is ridiculous. I just thought it was the silliest thing ever. And I kind of put it down until I went to work on it later that night. And I was like, how am I going to do this in an audition? And I didn't even know when I walked in the room how I was going to do it. But I did it and I got the job. They obviously liked it. And I remember at the end of the audition, the casting director was like, wow, that was a really hard audition. I was like, yeah. At that point, it was just supposed to be one job, one episode. And I think they just really liked her, and she was so cool. And we had a lot of fun as a collective creating the character and coming up with her look, everybody from wardrobe to hair and makeup and the DP. We had a great time. So, they decided to bring her back and she became that big baddie. So I didn't know much about Supernatural. I actually was kind of surprised because in my mind, I should have auditioned for the show a bunch of times, and that was the first time I had ever auditioned for it. So I was like, oh, that show's still on the air? Wow. Here we are 15 years later. But yeah, so then when they brought me back, it was really nice. I was also really excited because I had known Mark Shepard for a really long time. And so I was really excited to work with him because him and I had traveled all over the world at conventions. And then I finally got to work with him. So that was lots of fun. What have I binge watched during quarantine? I'm not a really big, this is such a bad thing for an actor to admit. I don't watch a lot of TV, mostly because if I sit down too long, I fall asleep. So, I don't know, with homeschooling my kids and just kind of being busy around my house and working on my own stuff, I didn't really watch a lot of stuff. I did watch Tiger King. I really liked that one. That was crazy, mesmerizing train wreck. Did you guys watch it? I don't know if you have a reaction, but if you did watch it, it was crazy, right? Outer Banks. I really liked Outer Banks. My kids and I watched that. I actually just auditioned for it, and I thought that would be really fun. I didn't get the job, but I thought my kids would be really excited if I got that job because they really love that show. So I'm looking forward to the second season of that one. That's about it, really. I'm trying to think. Gosh, quarantine was such a long time. It's been spanning months now. What has been my favorite memory from Supernatural set? I really have, just loved being involved with my friends. It's so beautiful to walk into a show so far into its production and to meet such a wonderful group of people. And it's happened for me quite a bit, which has been great. I'm really thankful that I've had the career that I've had, and I've worked on so many great shows. But this one's so special. You know, Richard Speight, he always says it's lightning in a bottle. So I'm just really proud of it. I'm really proud of the work that we do. I'm grateful for the friendships that I have, for the opportunities that it's afforded me, for us to connect with such a adoring and supportive fan base. Like it's so special. It's such a special thing to be a part of. And I know you guys all feel that too. So I'm just grateful. Set specifically, I mean, it's just fun. I was up there shadowing Phil Segrisha because I want to direct. I still want to direct. I was supposed to direct something in April, right around the time of shutdown, and it's definitely still something in my passion. I'm so proud of like my friends who have gone forward and done stuff, like Matt Cohen and Richard, of course, and so it's something that I definitely have my eye on. So when I was up there shadowing him, and we pulled that prank on Mark where we plastered his trailer with all of Misha's calendars, that was hilarious. And it was so cute because everybody was in on it. Like Misha couldn't even concentrate on work. He was like, they were shooting a scene and he was like, kept checking the time. He was like, is he supposed to be here yet? And he always gets to work early. So we knew that he would be there early. So we were like scrambling to get it done. And we were like in the middle of the day. And then Phil found out what we were doing and he was really upset. He's like, man, you guys are going to mess my whole day up. But Mark actually loved it. He thought it was hilarious. He kept it up forever. So that was really fun. Good memories. Yes, my new book. So I have an ebook out. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't seen me promoting it, it's more of like a handbook. I subscribe to the practice of writing affirmations. And if you're not familiar with affirmations, that's the reason I released the book. It is a practice of, writing positive affirmations that send a vibration into the universe. And it's something that you can do. It's just a simple practice. And I felt it in my own transition in life as I was going through a divorce and doing a lot of healing and doing like a lot of soul searching. It's along with many other therapeutic practices that I did. It was my one sort of constant, like every night, no matter what, before I'd go to bed, I'd write 10 times in my journal, whatever the affirmation I had for the day was. And I felt a big shift in my life and I noticed a big difference just in my own positive self-talk and in anxiety, and she'd have panic attacks. And we tried multiple things. And one thing that really resonated with her was writing affirmations. And so it's something she still does to this day. She has her journal tucked under her pillow. And she always says to me, she's like, I don't know what it is, Mommy. It just makes me feel safe. And I was like, good. And that's, all you want for your kids, to give them a practice. So I just noticed a huge difference with her. And yeah, so I encourage you guys all to get it. And it breaks down, the process of affirmations and how they work and why they're important. And then it gives 365 affirmations. So if you're not aware, Lisa Berry and I are doing a challenge. Her and I are very good friends. And we've done many challenges together. Most of which are like meditations or the 6 weeks challenges here and there. We did A Course in Miracles together, which is a year course. If you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. It's Marianne Williamson. And that one we actually attempted a few times. We kind of one time we got to the 200-day mark and then we both gave up. It was so weird. And then we did it with my other friend, David. Anyways, one time it stuck and we managed to get together for this whole year. And so she said to me, why don't we do this again? Oh, I can see the comments over here. Okay. Sorry, I'm figuring this out, you guys. So she just texted me the other day. She's like, I'm leaning on all my practices right now. She's a new mom. And so she said, why don't we do your book? Just like we've done all these other things and we just check them off one at a time. So if you want to join us, we're on day 6 and we just kind of are going down the affirmations and we just check in with each other and hold each other accountable. And if you want to do it with a friend and hold each other accountable, I highly recommend the practice. Like I said, for all the reasons I've already listed. yes, I'm very excited about it. I love it. It's something I deeply subscribe to, and I recommend it to everybody, which is why I released the book. So I hope you enjoy it if you get it. In which TV show would you love to be a part of? So, like I said, I binge watched Tiger King. I was like, I want to play Carol Baskin. She sounds so fun. And it is apparently, it was, the rights were purchased and it is being made into a show, but the woman who purchased, I forget, she's an actor, who licensed the property. She did it because she wanted to play Carol Baskin. So that would be really fun. I just auditioned for the show You. I think that would be a lot of fun to be in. Big Little Lies. I love that show. What a great cast. Just a great group of people. I had coffee about a month ago with Catherine Newton, who I haven't seen in such a long time. And she was just sharing stories about what it's like to work on that show and to work with Reese Witherspoon and Meryl Streep. And that was really cool to hear. And also I adore her. She's just such a gem. What is the difference of being on a show like CSI versus something like Smallville? So, when you're a guest star on a show, like an episodic show, like a non-serialized show, like a CSI, a procedural, there's, you're kind of just in there to do your job and you don't have a serialized story to tell. So, it can be, I guess not as connective. You go in and you do your best work and you have fun and you're grateful for the job, but you don't really connect to it like you do a character like, for example, the Black Canary. I love that character. I loved playing her. I'm very proud of her. She's one of my favorites that I've played, and I'm like so happy that story is being continued to be told, because I think she's a really rad character. I did a lot of research on her when I first booked that show. So to be able to connect really deeply with a character, for example, my character on The 100, she was really only supposed to be one episode, but the writers really loved what I was doing, and so we kind of were feeding on each other. And so when you're given that opportunity, same thing with Abaddon. Abaddon was only one episode, but there just becomes this synergy in a creative capacity where the writers are like, oh man, she could handle this. Like, ooh, and then you inspire each other, right? And so the writers are sitting in a writer's room and they're like, I bet she could do this. And then they start to play with your character, and then you get the material back and you're like, oh, I love this. Okay. And you start to play with it. So that's the kind of stuff you don't really get on a procedural, because that episode is about a certain crime. That being said, I would love to do a procedural as, one of the leads, and you get to develop a character over several years because the shows run for so long. But yeah, that's the main difference. So, hey, Sabrina from Brazil. What teaching did you learn and pass it on to your children? I feel like it's a daily thing. I'm grateful. My kids are very receptive. They're such kind, loving. It's so cute. We were out shopping today, and I got my daughter like a little sweater, and she's like, "Thank you, Mommy, for the sweater, and thank you for the day, and thank you for borning me." It was so cute. And this lady, we were buying pretzels, and this lady was like, "Wow, you must have done something really nice today." And I was like, "No, that's just who she is. She's just a really sweet, kind kid." So I feel like I've passed on a lot of lessons to my kids. I feel really blessed to travel all over the world. And, 90% of the time when I'm traveling, I'm doing it for business. And so I try to bring a kid with me, and I make an adventure out of it. It's selfishly so I can have, someone to travel with. And then also I feel like it's a benefit to them. So my kids have been all over the world. I'm grateful for that. And it forces me to like do stuff. If I'm in another country and I've got my kids with me, I'll make a point to like go to museums and do tours and stuff like that. So I'm just grateful I have really adventurous kids, and they're pretty rad. So I will say this was really sweet. One day we were like, my daughter was up, Hannah was up in my bedroom, and she was just like laying on my bed, and we were pulling angel cards and stuff, and she just kind of stopped, just like, "You inspire me, mommy. I want to be just like you." And I was like, "Aw." So that made me feel good. I'll remember that for when she doesn't feel that way all the time, but it was nice. What inspired you to become an actor, and who are your favorite actors would you like to work with but haven't had the opportunity? So when I was a kid, my sister had has red hair, and hers was natural. Mine was not when I was in Supernatural. And so we used to always get the movie Annie because I always thought it was like my sister. And we watched that movie so many times when I was a kid. And there's that scene in Annie where they go to the movies and Greta Garbo, and it's so glamorous, right? All the like the big Radio City Music Hall and all the dancers and the flashlight stuff. Um and so they go see Camille with Greta Garbo, and she dies. And I remember being like, "Oh, that's so glamorous." And I think in there somewhere inspired me to be an actor. I did some children's theater, and then later I started my career as a model. So I didn't really focus on acting, and I returned to it later in my 20s when I was modeling, and I had lived in a few countries, and I had settled into Texas. I was living in Dallas, and surprisingly, there was a lot of work in Dallas. And so this was like right around the time a lot of movies were being made in Austin. Robert Rodriguez was opening his studios, and Ron Howard was doing a big movie there, and there was a really thriving independent film scene. And so my modeling agency asked me if I had any interest in acting. And I was like, actually, I did a bit when I was a kid. And so I auditioned for a movie, and I got it. And I just kept booking like movies. So then I moved to LA, and I started working in television a lot. So kind of just went from there. As far as actors I want to work with, I mean, my favorite of all time is Al Pacino. I would love to work with Al Pacino. I love like Meryl Streep. She's amazing. I was out for dinner with Genevieve here last fall, and she was like, "Did you see who that was?" And I was like, "No, it was Robert De Niro." We were both kind of tripped out by that because we were in his hotel. So I would love to work with him. He's had such a rad career. Okay, I'm trying to read like both of these feeds. Can I speak about affirmations I've tried when I look in the mirror? Oh, yeah. Honestly, like there's just so much about affirmations that are really raising your vibration and focusing on connecting with something that's, you know, deeper than yourself, and really literally just changing the vibration of how you exist. I strongly recommend the book because it does break all of that down better than I can really explain it. But it's, you know, it's just a practice. And I think mirror work is great. I think writing it, I think even just considering it a mantra and, you know, speaking positively, always speaking in the positive and not in lack. So for example, I want to feel good about myself signifies you don't already. So to affirm, I feel great. And you can start small. I always tell this to my kids when they're like, "Oh, I'm in this funk." So you can see how you can build on this. So for example, if you like can't get out of bed, this has happened to me many times where I just feel like crappy. Like, I just feel like shit. I don't want to get out of bed. I feel so bad. And I just don't want to I don't want to eat good. I don't want to feel good. I just want to be sad. And you go, because it's so like warm and cozy in my bed. It feels nice to be in my bed and be nice and warm. Actually, I really like my bed. You know what? Maybe if I stretch, I'll feel good. And then you get up and stretch, and then you can build on it. And if you can, you sort of start to climb this energy ladder. So it's, you know, starting slow and starting where you're at. But yes, it's not easy, which is why it's a practice, and we just continue to practice it. Which supernatural co-star would you quarantine with? Ruthie. Ruthie, my queen. I love Ruthie. Ruthie's one of my best friends. I remember when we first met, she just like fit right in. We were in Birmingham at a convention, and I didn't really know the capacity. She didn't know the capacity to which her character was going to be. And she was just so sweet and like loving, and she just kept in touch. And she just would invite me to things and really connect with me. And our birthdays are just a few days apart. So we're little Aries twins, and I just love her. So Ruthie's been a very consistent, beautiful part of my life, and I just adore her. We can sit together in like rooms for hours and not talk, or we can FaceTime each other. I'll FaceTime her crying sometimes. Like, she's one of my best friends. I just love her so much. Okay. Favorite convention memory. I miss conventions. Don't you guys miss them? I miss traveling. I miss like preparing. I miss meeting everybody. I miss seeing you guys. It's such a great energy. This is so weird. There's no energy. It's just to sort of be in the same room as events and to connect. We all get together, and the year I got divorced, I actually would always book an extra day wherever I was staying. I would go to the spa or get a massage or kind of have it myself. I miss that. I just think overall I have one specific memory. Going to places and with my friends, they were taking it's so special. I just feel nice. It's nice too to know that like a lot of who attendees, you guys, when you come to these events, come with each other too, which is so cool. Like I love the fact that everybody's like found this beautiful funny little family that we've created, and it's just so powerful. It's beautiful. Love it. I have been homeschooling my kids. Someone said, have you been homeschooling during quarantine? Yes. Oh my gosh. In some ways, I kind of like it. I always sort of imagined I would be schooling my kids anyway, just because I travel so much and I would take them out of school to like go to trips. And so I'd get in trouble with the school. So I was always sort of like, meh. I subscribe very heavily to the method. I love Montessori, and I tried to keep my kids in a Montessori as long as I could. There wasn't any in my neighborhood in Los Angeles that went beyond 2nd grade. But yeah, I believe in experiences, and so I homeschooled myself when I was in high school. I was working a lot as a model, and so I was traveling a lot. And in order to sort of accommodate that, I would do my schoolwork. So this is okay. We'll release with tags on Twitter and Facebook. Can it give us a plural noun? Oh, okay. I don't know how to play it Mad Libs. So I just give you the noun, and then you do it. Cars, I guess. I don't know. Cars? Tell me what happens with it. Smallville, any funny stories that come to mind? Smallville was fun. I was really excited to be a part of that show. There was like some really rad moments when we were like all in superhero costumes. Justin Hartley, if you don't know, is one of the funniest dudes. He's so like, he plays these like straight, like romantic characters. I don't know his character on This Is Us very much, but he's such a funny dude. And we had all our stuff together, and we stay at the same hotel. So we'd like, have dinner after work together and stuff. He's just a really rad guy. I love him a lot. So he was like, he said to me one day, he was like, you should come to the bar after work in your costume, and I'll come in my costume. And then you walk in, I'm going to go, you look ridiculous. And I was like, okay, Justin. Yeah, he was a lot of fun. He always made me laugh. It's actually been really nice because Tom just started doing conventions in the last couple of years. So Laura and Michael and Tom and myself, and I think Kristen's starting to do them now. And so we get to see each other a lot. And, it's interesting. I think conventions were not always like, something a lot of actors, could even fathom doing just because you work so much. Like sometimes you're getting at home from work at like 4 o'clock in the morning and you don't want to hop on a plane to go across the country at 6 a.m. only to do it again on Monday. So yeah, he didn't do conventions for a really long time. And now I think he realizes like how fun they are and how nice it is to connect with people. And, it's a great way to see the world. Oh, my connection is choppy. Can you guys hear me? I'm going to text you, Brittany. Okay, it's good. All right, thank you. How about truck? Was that a plural noun? Am I confused right now? Yes, I miss cons. I miss traveling. Oh, here you guys all are. I love Germany. I used to live in Munich. I ate way too much bread there. It was so good. And chocolate. See? Teresa, I met one of my best friends there in 2010 in Jersey. Exactly. So nice. You guys all connect. Okay. Any smaller projects that I wish got more traction because I love the story and the character? No, not that I can really think of. I wish, I really wished Abaddon would have been a bigger character. I feel like there was a lot more story that she could have told. I wish Stargate could have gone another couple of seasons. I don't think we were done telling that story. I thought it would be nice if my Black Canary had a bigger storyline on Smallville. And The 100, I loved joining that cast. It was such a beautiful show to be a part of. And, I wish it was continuing because I know there would have been room for me. All the creators and the showrunners and everybody was like, oh man, we wish we found you seasons ago. We would have kept you. So, no, but there'll be another one. There'll be more jobs. There always are. I'm always just so grateful with what, lands with me. So it's really funny because there's so many opportunities we get that don't come to fruition as jobs. And a friend of mine will get it or someone else, will get the job and you're like, oh yeah, they were a better choice, and then you just kind of like go along. I remember reading something Betty White said where she's like, I'm never upset about jobs I didn't get because there's, all the jobs that I was supposed to have were aligned for me. So, I feel really grateful for the career path that I've had. I've been able to, create my family at the same time as I've built my career. And I just always affirm, back to my affirmations, everything always works out for me. Everything just does. So, any funny stories from Kings of Con? What a great show that was, right? Oh my God. I remember when they asked me to be a part of it. I was just so like, they sent me the script, Rob sent me the script, and I'm always so impressed with how creative and talented my friends are. Like I was reading the script, I was leaving the gym and I opened it as I was walking in my car and I was just laughing. Like I must have looked like a crazy person because I was like laughing my ass off walking in my car. What a great show. I'm just so proud of my friends. They did such a great job. And from like a production feat, like Ellie was a producer and she's like, just killed it. And then to do the after the Kings of Conversation and just the way they did it was so great. I'm just so proud of them. They were really great about like improv. I'm not like the funniest person ever, but I love being a part of, those guys are so funny. So I just enjoyed being a part of it. I just laughed a lot. I was just there. I was just happy to be a part of it. It was really nice. What inspired me to get into life coaching? So, um, this is something that I'm loving right now. So a few years ago, as I was going through a divorce, I've always sort of been into self-help books and kind of a therapy junkie. And then when I got out of my marriage, it was a very difficult time, as you can imagine. A lot of people have trouble, and it's very discombobulating. I felt I was just confused. And I still don't have a relationship with my ex, and my kids don't have a relationship with their father. And it was confusing. I didn't understand what happened, and I still don't understand. I feel very like abandoned and discarded. And so I went through a lot of my own therapy, which I recommend to everybody. I did a lot of codependency work. I had to figure that part out for myself. I did a lot of therapy. I did a lot of just sort of wallowing and healing. And then I got to a point where I felt like I'd done all of that. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Then I discovered life coaching, and life coaching is really to take you from a balance point into flourishing. And so it's just sort of a combination of like tools and skills to goal set and to work on building onto your foundation. And so I took this course really as a furthering of my own independent therapy. I wasn't actually planning on using it for anything other than my own personal work. I liked the fact that I took this course, and it was like every Sunday at 11. I was like, oh, that'll give me something to do, something to focus on. It won't interfere with my career at all. And it was great. And I did that for about a year. And as I was going through the course, I reached out to a few of my friends who I knew were in transition phases in their life, mostly women in their late 30s, early 40s, who are very accomplished. I felt could really benefit from having sort of an advocate and a coach. And so I was like, hey, do you mind, while I'm going through this course, if we can sort of run down all of the work? I'm going to do it on myself, and we can do it together. And so, I turned these like skeptics into believers. One of my girlfriends, she's this, high level ad executive, and creative executive at ad agencies and things like that. And she's like, what the hell is a life coach? I was like, let's just try. So at the end of our first session, she was like, wow. And I've just seen her go on to like do all these really amazing jobs and things that she was like putting around with forever. And so she actually just wrote me a really nice testimonial. And I have another girlfriend who's a writer who had more work published in the 3 or 4 months that I worked with her than she had in her whole career. And so I just was really inspired by the work and like by the practice of doing these modules. And so actually I'm creating a program that I would like to release early next year. It's a 14-week program, and it just sort of takes you through the work. I'm shooting a bunch of videos for it. And I just think it's a great tool that everybody should have. And yeah, I love it. So I'm going to share more of it as I am developing it. What is my non-TV related quarantine guilty pleasure? Well, this one you might want to smack me for, because it's not like, it's sort of I love to work out. It's a weird one. I love to run. That's like my favorite. Like, I just feel that's like my biggest stress release. My favorite thing to do is like just throw on my sneakers and my headphones and just go. But then my knees hurt. So just the gym. I love sort of the social aspect of being in the gym. I actually always had this dream. I actually almost bought a franchise of gyms a couple of years ago, and I'm so glad I didn't. See, everything always works out for me. I was in the final stages of buying 3 gyms, and then the first one we were going to put in Calabasas, and then the entire city of Calabasas like burned down. And then of course, by the time we would have finished, the 3rd gym would have been the second one would have been December. So it would have only been open for a few months before COVID hit, and I probably would have lost them. So everything always works out. But I always thought it would be really fun to own a gym. I'm kind of a gym rat. I like to be in the gym. I like the community of gyms. I still think it would be a great idea. I remember when I first moved to LA, I was like looking for gyms, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I walked into this one gym, and it was these two sisters. They were youngish, maybe like early 30s, and they were just closing. She's like, "Oh, come in and look at the gym." It was a really small, like boutique-y little gym, and one was sitting behind the desk reading a script. So they're both actors also, and I was like, "That's what I want to do. I want to like own a gym and be an actor." So all these years later, I might still do it. I think that would be fun. What was my first acting experience like? Gosh. I guess I did like some children's theater. I guess that would be like the first experience. And then I don't really remember it though, because I was a kid. I did, so I think, so my dad, when I was a kid, when my sister and I were kids, we grew up in Ontario, in Canada, and right outside of Stratford, if you know much about, like, there's a big Stratford theater there and festival. And so he put my sister and I in these like speech lessons, and it was like he wanted us to be confident and like, you know, get on stage and give speeches, and it was basically acting lessons. And so we would go do these like little performances, mostly for older people in nursing homes. And I'm sure my dad had no idea that he was actually going to inspire me to be an actor at some point. I don't think that was his plan, but that was really the first experience. And it was just kind of like to be comfortable in, you know, performing and being on stage and communicating through an art medium. As far as work, the first movie I did was called Pendulum. And that I was in my 20s, and I was living in Texas. That was when my modeling agent had asked me if I had any interest. And that was kind of neat because they cast me first. It was Rachel Hunter played one of the police officers, and then there was me, and then they were trying to find a woman to play my love interest. And so I had already booked the role, met with the director and the producer, and had like dinners and lunches. And then they used me in the casting session to chemistry read everybody who came in for the callbacks. And that was a cool experience because just to sort of be involved in that process and see how it works. Because after that, I really didn't have that experience for several years unless you produce or create your own stuff, you know, or you're the lead of something that, you know, that hasn't happened to me where they read people opposite you. So that was kind of a unique experience. But yeah, it was so long ago. It was like a whole lifetime ago. Is there any aspect of the Stargate sci-fi world you really enjoyed? All of it, yeah. Man, again, like Stargate, wow. Like I walked into this huge, like well-established, beautiful, you know, family. We were not very welcomed. I've spoken about this before, into the Stargate family initially. There was like people protesting. I remember people would come to meet and greets and tell me they hated me and I should just go home. And I was like, wow, you paid a lot of money to tell me that. You could have just tweeted me, but okay. But overall, I made lifelong friends on those shows. I'm so grateful for that, you know, that phase of my life. I was pregnant on Stargate. I actually should have got divorced. True story. I should have got divorced then, and we made up and made a baby. So that was Charlie, and I was pregnant with her in the first season, and they actually wrote it into the storyline, and I was really grateful for that. And so it was a really beautiful experience and part of my life. But yeah, just just so nice. I mean, I'm so grateful. I've made so many great friends. Amanda Tapping is somebody I look up to. She's a wonderful person, and I've watched her build her career as such an established director now. And yeah, through the power of the sci-fi world, I love the sci-fi world. Would I encourage my kids to go into acting or modeling? So it's interesting. I've been approached several times about all my kids, and we've taken a couple of meetings over the years. My daughter Hannah has been on the Ellen show several times. They do a few things with kids, and they really love her over there. They actually scouted her at school. We used to live in Burbank, and Ellen she was in Burbank, and so they would come to the school and they'd scout these kids, and they just always called Hannah. So she was on the show maybe 5 or 6 times, and a few times we went into some agency meetings and stuff, but I just wasn't ready to be a stage mom. So we didn't really follow through with anything until recently. So my daughter now has been approached by a few modeling agencies. She's still a bit young, she's 14. So yeah, if that's something that they want to do and they have a passion for it, that's great. I'm not gonna, force anybody to do anything. Mostly, I would encourage my kids to just follow their creativity, and if it turns into a career, fantastic. If it doesn't, fantastic. There's always room for creative expression. My daughter Charlie she's a very dedicated gymnast. So, that takes up most of her life. That's all she wants to do. And my boys, they have their own interests as well. So if they find it on their own, that's great. I won't discourage it, but I certainly am not going to be driving them to commercial auditions at 4 p.m. That's just not the way that I want to do things. Which it's a big job for any stage mom. Did I have fun working with Gil? Of course. I love Gil. He's actually a very good friend of mine. Did you guys go to his panel already? He had his this morning. Yeah, I love Gil. Gil and I, we used to live really close to each other, so I'd see him multiple times a week. We'd help each other with our auditions. But I was able to help him prepare his audition to play Prince Eric. So I was really excited when he came in, and he was like, I got this audition. Can you, read it with me? And so we read it, and I was like, man, you'd make a great Prince Eric. So there he goes, and he did it, and got it. Is there a country or city you would love to live that you haven't? I love Paris. I always tell my kids, when the last one's out of the house, I'm going to retire in Paris and paint and drink wine. So that's always been my thing. But I have so many places that I've not been that I would love to visit. And yeah, I'm sure I'll have time at some point. But thank you guys. That was the last question. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for showing up. This is such a weird way to do conventions, but I'm so grateful we found a way to connect. I feel really fortunate. I feel really lucky to have connected, in such a great way with such a beautiful fan base. I don't think it's every actor's experience, and I just feel really, really grateful that it's been my experience. And